After the recent buffs to gadgeteen, this comp is now viable to play, and can be incredibly powerful under the right circumstances. In this video, I'll teach you how to master this comp by going over the build, what items and augments to take, how to play the early, mid, and late game, and then I'll go over some in-depth positioning examples. This comp is not very flexible because we have 6 core units, which are 3 gadgeteens of Zoe, Annie, Lulu, and Alistar for Oxforce, Sona for Spellslinger, and Echo for Aegis and Prankster. The most common level 8 board is 5 gadgeteen with Poppy and Nunu. Another variant is 4 Heart with Syndra and Yuumi, who also give us Star Guardian and Mascot. The best hero augments are any for Zoe, Annie, or Nunu, and support augments for Lulu, Yuumi, Soraka, Echo, or Poppy. And if you want to learn more about hero augments, then check out my guide where I go in depth on that subject. And I'll talk more about how you can change up your board based on your augments and emblems, and what you add in at level 9 later in the video. But if you are a newer player, just stick to the standard version of the comp, and only play that until you get comfortable with it. Zoe is our main carry, so we prioritize making items for her first. She has one core item, which is blue buff. This item is very good on her, because she only has 30 mana, and with blue buff, she can cast her spell quite often. The second is a damage item. This can be Morello, JG, Giant Slayer, Deathcap, or Archangel. Morello is the best, because she can apply the item to all enemies throughout the fight, so try to always build this item, but if you cannot, the other items are good options too. The third item can be another one of the previously mentioned damage items, or Gunblade for healing up yourself and the frontline. After making items for Zoe, we want to make items for our main tank, who is Annie. Here's a tier list of her best items. She likes standard tank items like Stoneplate or Warmogs, and she also likes Ionic Spark to shred MR. If you make Morello and Zoe, then don't make Sunfire for Annie, but if you can't, then it's a must-have item on her. The gadgeteen trait gives you an item every turn, and these items break after one fight, even if they don't get used. These items are upgraded versions of the regular buildable Bloodthirster, Giant Slayer, Spirit Sojin, Hand of Justice, Warmogs, Ionic Spark, Sunfire Cape, Shroud, and RFC. Because you want to build 3 items on both Zoe and Annie, you can't give them these items, so the damage items like Sojin, Giant Slayer, and Hodge go to Sona or Lulu. The tank and utility items like Warmog, Sunfire, Ionic, and Bloodthirster go to Echo, Alistar, or Nunu. You should give the Shroud of Stillness to any unit. With this item, you want to wait until you see your opponent's positioning, and then give it to a unit that's on the same side as the enemy carry to mono reave them. So it's advised to split up your units to always be able to get the most out of that item. RFC should be given to Yuumi because her spell range increases with it. If you get a spatula, the best options are Heart, Mascot, or Advent Spat. Heart Spat goes on Zoe. She is absolutely insane with this spat because she can cast very frequently, and it will give your team a ton of AP. Always play 4 hearts if you get this, and even consider playing 6 hearts. You can give the Mascot emblem to Annie or Echo, and Advent Spat is only good if the admin trait gives your team some sort of value, and not just the admin units. Some examples are AP per cast, or HP per 5 seconds to the whole team. The best non-hero augments are Gadgeteen Heart or Crest, Jeweled Lotus, Luden's Echo, Ancient Archives, Second Wind, Trade Sector, Component Grab Bag, Portable Forge, Stand United, Three's Company, or Prankster Crown. And if all that info was a lot to take in, then check out the cheat sheet for this comp. It's available for patrons and YouTube members. Here is the quirky cheat sheet from last set, so you know what to expect for the Gadgeteen Zoe cheat sheet that is available right now. The carousel priority for this comp is tier, rod, belt, then chain. The best opener for this comp is gadgeteens, which means Annie, Poppy, Lulu, and Wukong as the 4th unit. Other openers that can also work are Star Guardians, Enigma Jinx, or Mascot Yuumi. Some good items to slam in the early game are Morello, Blue Buff, Stoneplate, Spark, Primal Vest, Dragonclaw, Warmogs, Jewel Gauntlet, or Gunblade. And if you want to learn more about how to play the early game, then check out my guide, where I go in depth on that subject. After the Krogs round, you should have more direction towards a comp, and the general requirements are to have one fully built Zoe item and a component for another Zoe item. And if you are weak in the mid game, you have 2 options. You can either roll level 6 or level 7 to stabilize and stop the bleeding of HP. If you want to roll level 6, it should be on stage 3 too, where you want to look for a board like this, where you have Zoe, Annie, Lulu, Sona, Alistar, and Poppy. If you want to roll level 7, then that should be on stage 3-5. And you want to stabilize off of this board with Zoe and Annie 2-star, and Lulu, Sona, Alistar, Echo, and Yuumi. During the mid game, it's also important to scout. This is so we can see how many other people are playing gadgeteens. This comp can support 2 people, so if you see more than that going for it, then consider pivoting into another AP comp like Spellslinger Talia or Heart Soraka. On stage 4-1, you want to be level 7, and from here you have 2 different options. You can either slow roll at level 7 for Zoe 3-star, or push level 8 and play 5 gadgeteens with Nunu. Slow rolling is when you roll excess gold above 50 to try to 3-star units. If you decide to go for 3-star Zoe, you want to play a board like this, and if you're getting low on HP, which means you're 20 to 30 or lower, then you should go all in to try to hit your Zoe 3-star. When you find her, build your economy back up and go level 8 for Nunu. The other option is to push level 8 for Nunu and play 5 gadgeteens. If you choose this strategy, you should go to level 8 on stage 4-5, but at the latest on stage 5-1. The board you want to play looks like this. You can also play 4 hearts with Syndra and Yuumi, and it's important that if you play Syndra, you should also hold impactful CC units like Janna, Sejuani, or Urgot on your bench. If you could get a heart spat, then you want to play 4 hearts with a board like this. Zoe uses heart spat amazingly because she has low mana cost, she can spam her bubbles to grant the team a ton of AP. In this case, we drop Lulu to play a better heart unit like Soraka or Syndra. If you get the mascot spat, your board should look like this. We drop Sona for Yuumi because Spellslinger only buffs Annie and Sona, so it's not that important, and we can play 4 mascots like this. And you give the spatula to Echo or Annie. With the admin emblem, you want to play 4 hearts with this board. Depending on the admin trait, you can give the spat to different units. If the trait only buffs admins, then give it to someone who can use the buff. For example, if the buff is AP, you give it to Zoe, or if the buff is HP, you give it to Annie or Echo. If the buff is team-wide, then you can give it to any unit on your board. But generally, admin is not that great if the buff is not team-wide. If you get Prankster Crest, you give it to Alistar and play the standard version of the level 8 board. Getting +1 gadgeteen allows you to be more flexible. In this case, you remove Poppy and replace her with a strong unit like Fiddlesticks, Urgot, or Mordekaiser, or play more hearts. You can also give the emblem to Echo, or the unit you added in instead of Poppy. Once you hit your board at level 8, you can push for level 9, and complete your board with Mordekaiser, Leona, Janna, Syndra, or threats like Fiddle, Urgot, Zac, or Aesol. General positioning with this comp looks like this. We have Zoe and Echo on the same side, and Nunu in the second row to not get targeted first. And now let's move on to some in-depth examples. Against the first guy, the big threat is Samira. Zoe is in the corner not to get hit by the Sejuani ultimate. Echo is positioned to get hit by the Samira and taunt the Sejuani, and make her ult in a worse angle. Nunu is positioned to go towards the Samira first, and against the second guy, the big threat is Viego. Zoe is positioned in the middle to avoid getting jumped by Talon. Lulu and Sona are next to each other to draw aggro of the Viego. Nunu rolls towards the Aphelios first. Against the third guy, the big threat is Taliyah. We make sure to position Zoe on the opposite side of Taliyah and have her alone on that side to avoid getting damaged by Taliyah's ultimate. Our Echo taunts the Taliyah, Janna, and Lux with his ultimate. Nunu starts to go towards the Taliyah, Janna, and Lux. Thank you so much for watching. If you learned something, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel. If you want cheat sheets for any of my comp guides, they're available for you to members and patrons, and links to those are down in the description. And if you want to get better at TFT, then join the Discord. We got over 9,000 other players there who are hungry to climb. And if you want to get coached by me, the information is over on the Discord server as well. So take care and see you in the next video.